Because now I know how to do it. Hey guys, Evan's here. Here with Alyssa, and super excited to chat with you guys and just talk about mindset. We're in a season where in a very short period of time, people are going to be setting goals for their fitness, for their finances. I think those are the big two that people set in the beginning of the new year. And you go, Evans, it's December 1st. Why are you talking about stuff that we do January 1st? Because your prep and your pregame is critical to in order to be successful. But we know that there's a ton of videos, and I may even do another one on goal setting out there. But more than goal setting, I just want to take a little bit and talk about mindset, because how you think about what you're going after and how you see yourself is critical in accomplishing your goals. So it's all about mindset. Your mindset is everything. And so when you start thinking about your mindset and your thoughts, there's this adage that I've heard 1,000 times, if I've heard it once. It says, watch your thoughts, because your thoughts will become your words. Watch your words, because your words become your feelings. And you watch your feelings, your feelings becomes your actions. Actions
Hmm.
becomes your habits. Habits become your character. Character becomes your destiny. And that sounds great and it's cool and I like it. But I don't think watching my thoughts is enough. I don't think just watch the thoughts that come in, then I'll get the destiny that I desire. And then it's like, oh, well, control your thoughts because then, brrr. But the reality is, if you're anything like me, you've had these crazy random thoughts that just pop in your mind at any particular time. So, it's not that we have a hyper control of all the thoughts that we have. So you really can't control your thoughts. But what you can control is like your input, the things you put in your brain, uh, um, in there. So you can surround yourself. I'll give you an example. You can always tell the environment of a child. So how does the parents create that culture? By the children,
Mm.
right? So if you have children that are like siblings and they're arguing and fighting all the time, um, there's probably a sign that things are like that in the home. Or when a first grader uses profanity, he probably didn't pick it up in school.
Right.
Right? So where did they get that thought from? They got that thought from the environment that
Hmm.
they're surrounded by. I'm gonna share my screen because I do like to write and talk, and I figured out a way to do that. So I'm super pumped, about that. But they say right now that the average person has anywhere between 40, to 70,000 thoughts a day.
Mm.
And everything I was looking up was saying like 60 to 95% of it is negative.
Wow.
Yeah. So not only do we're thinking about a whole lot of things, a lot of the thoughts that we're having are not great thoughts. And most people, when asked to describe themselves, or that do describe themselves, do not describe themselves in a positive manner.
Hmm.
So this has everything to do with how you're going to approach your goal, because if you're approaching your goal with a defeat vision of yourself, then you don't hit the goal.
Hmm.
Say like everybody who won the championship, envision themselves who to win the championship, right? It's just not everybody who envisioned themselves to win the championship won the championship. So you have to have the right thoughts about you to enable you to be successful in there.
Hmm.
So we can like, even though we're having all these thoughts that come into our mind, and some of those thoughts are incongruent with what our goals are, we can like identify and arrest those thoughts. So when it says watch your thoughts, or maybe to be mindful of the thoughts that you're having, so like think about what you're thinking about, it's kind
Hmm.
of thing. But then you can arrest those thoughts. So I ask someone to describe themselves, right? Like give an example. We do consultations at CU Fit, and in the beginning consultation I always say, tell me a little about yourself and your fitness goals. And someone may describe themselves in a way that if somebody else called them that descriptor, they would be upset.
Yeah.
So I give you an example. If you see yourself as a fat person that's trying to be fit, then you'll never be fit
Mhm.
because your brain has an image of you being overweight or obese. I don't really like the word fat, but I think fat is a tissue, is adipose
Mhm.
tissue, or fat is like a macronutrient, not a human being, right? But if you have this image of yourself as unfit, then just for Evans's, this is like one of the few things of me being anything near politically correct. I just, so if you have an unfit version of yourself in your mind, then you'll never be fit
You wanna
until,
talk a little bit about, like,
yeah.
the thermostat concept?
Well, hold on, and I'll finish this, and then you'll talk about the thermostat then.
Oh, okay.
Since you're excited about that. So, is when you change and work on creating an image of yourself. So, the first thing to do is work on creating an image of yourself as a fit person, and then you will work. You will do the things needed to be the fit person you want to be. And so this is where Alyssa's going to talk about like what is this thermostat that she's excited about, and even setting the thermostat itself.
Yeah, so one way to sort of look at yourself is you're a thermostat. And what does a thermostat do, right? It doesn't tell the temperature. It's not a temperature gauge. It sets the temperature. And so the image that you have of yourself is what sets the temperature for your actions, your thoughts, and ultimately like whether or not you're able to reach your goals. So if your thermostat is set at, okay, well, I'm just an unfit person, even if you make some headway with, okay, I'm going to start doing this new habit, I'm going to start doing this, eventually you'll self sabotage because the thermostat, what does it do? Once the temperature gets to a certain degrees, right, it turns on the air conditioning to bring it back down to that set point. Or if it gets too cold, it brings up the heat to bring it back up to that set point. So unless you change that image of yourself and set the thermostat at a different level, it'll be really, really challenging to reach your goals.
And that's huge, right? And that could be anywhere. So I give an example. If I got into a weird accident, God forbid, and I gained 100 pounds, the image I have for me is set at a certain level. So even if I gained 100 pounds, eventually in a short period of time, I'll be back to that
Mhm.
now. And it would seem like a record time compared to most people. And this is
Mhm.
not just on your like fitness, this is also on your finances, how you see yourself, right? You may do stuff, you may save money for a little bit, but eventually you buy something that costs you and you get right back to your thermostat. Or it
Mhm.
can be on your relationships. You go to marriage counseling, you do this, but you don't see yourself. Your thermostat is not set as I'm one who's deserving and has a healthy relationship. So no matter what you do, even if you get a little bit of headway, eventually you come back down. You'll always live, in relation to that thermostat. So to get the thermostat up, the only thing you can really do is work on you.
Mhm.
Now, you are not your fitness, you're not your finances, you're not your relationships, you're not all the external goals that you have. You are uniquely designed. And of course, I look at the world through a biblical worldview. So, uniquely designed by God, after his image and his likeness, and you're designed to accomplish great things. So, if you work on who you are, your mind, your will, your imaginations, your emotions, if you start developing you, then, when you increase, then all these other areas, and we can go to multiple different areas of life, all those other areas increase as well.
Mhm.
You realize, man, I'm fitter, I have better finances, I'm able to have better relationships. All those things increase because you has increased. Huge
Mhm.
thing, So how do we set our thermostat? Is I'm going to kind of give you like this like hack or this tool that I like a lot. But I do want you to know is like in the same space of the thermostat is understand the opportunities that you see to move towards your goals are controlled by your mind. So we don't
Mhm.
see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. So of course you're watching, if you're here, you're watching us, and you're just seeing what's on here. But different people are looking at different things. Meaning someone's like, man, Evans's forehead is shiny. Somebody else may be seeing Alyssa's background is dark. Somebody else may going, man, how can they read his handwriting? It's like what your brain chooses to focus on. And so is your reticular activating system is what controls that. If you buy a new vehicle, all of a sudden you only see that vehicle on the road.
Mhm.
Similarly, I talk to people all the time, and they're like, "Oh, there's nothing healthy," and they just pick the place, And then I can go in the same place and find a bunch of healthy stuff in that same place,
Mhm.
But the reason why they don't see anything healthy is because their reticular activation system, which is by your like cerebellum, is designed to help ward off danger initially. So it allows you to filter all the data that's out there to what you've already preset as what is important data. That's the reason why, like, if you're an American, when you go overseas or you go on a cruise ship or whatever, you run into Americans.
Mhm.
I'm a New Yorker. It's like everywhere I go, no matter where I've gone, I've met somebody from New York. The reason why, because my brain was filtering out the people with a Texas accent,
Mhm.
looking for people that are similar, like unto me. I went to a dinner uh, thing, 40, 50 people in the room, everybody grab whatever seat. And, I'm sitting with TJ, and we're sitting across from a couple, and she's Jamaican and he's Haitian, I'm
That's
Jamaican. I'm like, of all the people in the room,
funny.
I'm sitting across from another West Indian couple. And the reason why, though, is because my brain was filtering everybody to find that thing that was like, because like attracts like. So, how do you kind of like help change this? Is you have to understand the principle of GIGO. So we're gonna put it up here, but GIGO is your brain is like a computer system, and it comes with nothing preset. There's only two fears you're born with. You can test it on a newborn baby. Is the fear of falling and loud noises.
Mhm.
Every other fear is learned. And so how do you learn? It can be garbage in, right? Produce garbage out. So people have trashy lives. The reason why is because they put trashy things in. The trashy relationships. They watch the news, and I remember when I was a kid, there was a in the 80s and 90s. I forgot his name, but like everybody was testing for pregnancy, and there was always a fight and a brawl on the TV show.
Ori,
No, it wasn't more. It was like
Jerry
pre
Springer.
Gary Springer. It was just trash.
Yep.
And all the people broken relationships were watching soap operas, right? Just trashy things. If you put that stuff into your mind cannot tell the difference between a truth and a lie.
Mhm.
So whatever data you give it is going to put it out. Similarly with the giggle process, right? If I put greatness in, then I'm going to get greatness out.
Mhm.
So it's super important that you tell yourself great things so greatness can come out of you as well. So that's this principle of Gigo. And so how do we create a pattern in our lifestyle in which we can put the things in we want to accomplish the goal? Because you have like the way your brain works, it doesn't look like this, right? But you have like your subconscious mind, which covers like most of your activity, and then your very conscious mind. But you kind of so consciously you may desire something, but if the subconscious image doesn't align with the conscious image, you live the conscious image. There's this person who wants a really good job, or so he goes, hey, I'm gonna go to school and I'm gonna get good degrees or whatever, and I'm gonna up my resume, I'm gonna intern and do all these things. He gets an interview somewhere, he shows up, but that morning he spills coffee on his shirt. He doesn't even normally eat or drink coffee, but he's like, let me
Mhm.
just get some coffee, be extra alert. Spills coffee in his shirt, doesn't have enough time to change, but it was like, yeah, it's better to show up than to show up with a coffee with not show up. And he doesn't get the job because he looks like a slob.
Mhm.
You, and what happened? He fulfilled the thermostat or that image that he had preset in his subconscious mind.
Yep.
So what we can do is consciously put information in here to change the image that's in our mind. Some hacks in there is that your mind works in images. So the more images that you use, the better it is for your mind, because it doesn't
Mhm.
work in words, it works in images. And that's why people like watching TV and movies and things like that, because it's just image to image. You can even like turn off the TV, the sound and everything else, and just the images can promote provoke emotion, which is kind of interesting. So if we understand that's how the brain works, we have to give the brain data consciously. And a hack that I got is a great book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, and he talks about just taking out, time to put together what he calls a savers. You know, so savers is you can do it 10 minutes for each, and it can be an hour every morning. It can be 1 minute for each, and it's 6 minutes every morning. But it's being very deliberate with putting in church. My pastor used to say years ago. He said, "I feed my heart faith when I don't need it, so my heart can feed my mouth faith when I do need it."
Mm.
So I'm filling my brain with all the things I need, and I'm telling myself about who I am. So therefore, when I'm under pressure, what comes out is what I desire. A lot of successful people I know, they say you live at the level in which you speak.
Mhm.
So you'll notice, like, man, why this person? They're always positive. They're always opportunistic. They're always, and there's more than just like, it'll be okay. It'll be
Mhm.
okay. It's not positive. It's like abdicating what's going to really happen here. You can't be like, well, I have all these papers and it's raining outside, but it'll be all right. That's like foolish hope. You know what I mean? A positive mental attitude is seeing situations and seeing, okay, how can I create greatness in it? So it's
Mhm.
looking for a positive solution out of it or figuring out a way to do that. But there are those who will see, the rain, let's say, and they'll go, okay, I guess it's time to start sowing some seeds and we'll grow some grass. And there's those who see the rain and they'll whine about it.
Mhm.
And so savers is saying, hey, why don't you take a moment just to be silent? I'm reading this really good book. I'm not ready to promote it, but take some time just to be silent and just be aware of how are you.
Mhm.
In your silence, you can, kind of just be present. So often right now, we have so many things pulling in ourselves that we don't have true silence. We don't have time with ourselves. That's the reason why, like, social media and all that's grown so much is because people don't want to spend time with self.
Yep.
So just take a moment, but 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, just be silent. The other second part is give yourself affirmations. So what is an affirmation? Is you affirming your desired result that hasn't happened yet. That's the best way to kind of think about it. So let's say if it's fitness related, you say, hey, I want to lose 50 pounds. Instead of saying out loud, let's say I'm 250, and I want to be 200. Instead of saying I want to lose 50 pounds, because what's that image? That's, is the person who wants to lose 50 pounds lighter?
No.
Not at all. They're someone who's 50 pounds heavy. So when I'm
Mhm.
saying my affirmation where I want to lose 50 pounds, I want to lose 50 pounds, I'm telling my brain that works in images. I'm 50 pounds overweight. I'm 50 pounds overweight. I'm 50 pounds overweight. Because the
Right.
only person that wants to lose 50 pounds is the person that's 50 pounds overweight.
Mhm.
So instead, I can say, I'm super excited that I lost 50 pounds. I'm healthy. I'm fit. I'm making decisions that congruent with my goals. I'm able to do because it's not the scale that actually matters, is what you're able to do. I'm able to
Mhm.
climb stairs. I'm not winded anymore. And you can say those things even while you're huffing and puffing to go up the stairs because you're speaking what you desire as if you already have it.
Mhm.
It's really cool. Some people think it's really goofy, but you can really tell the impact of it when you try to do these things while looking in the mirror. And we've seen, I
Mhm.
remember in the early years, people used to what are you doing over there at Seeing You Fat? Is it like a surgery? Because people just, we used to spend so much time in coaching, just having people write down 10 affirmations every single day, and only two of them had to do with their fitness. But it was writing down like, I am healthy and fit. I love my body. I remember first time I
Mhm.
told someone, to start crying, they go, if you had my body, you wouldn't say that. And I go, until you love your body, you won't have the body you desire. You don't take care of the car
Absolutely.
you want to take into the dumpster.
Mhm.
So it's I love myself. I'm worthy of it. A lot of people struggle with the time commitment. Oh, there's so many other things. Well, I'm
Mhm.
worthy of doing. So as you speak those things, you can accomplish those things in your life. And then you spend some time visualizing it. Visualize. So you have to spend some time going, seeing yourself, doing that. Remember, the mind works in images. You will manifest in your life your most dominant thought, of yourself and of your life. So, how do you see your life? So, spend some time to really spend some time and just visualize it. Whatever the goal is, again, we're talking about health and fitness, but you can apply it to every other area of life. Do you see yourself there? Like,
Mhm.
not, oh yeah, it'd be great, but no, like, and not uncontrollable things like winning the lotto, right? But it's like, hey, like if you want to get out of debt, visualize, spend some time and feel like what it's like to be out of debt. Other thing, of course, we are in health and fitness here, so if you want to hit our goals, we got to exercise. There's no if ands about it. You got to move, and there's so many positive results from mental clarity to
Mhm.
to the release of epinephrine, norepinephrine, the adrenaline hormones. We've seen people's cortisol levels decrease through exercise. Seen people manage pain better. When
Mhm.
fibromyalgia first came was popular, people were like, "Oh, don't exercise." And then everybody you talk to says, hey, if they exercise their fibromyalgia, the inflammation in their body goes down. So those are all things that are really critical to help you. So take, even if it's only 10 minutes, but take time out to exercise. And I recommend doing something every single day to move you to your goal. Some days it may just be I'm gonna do some flexibility stuff. Some days I'm gonna come in and get trained. Some days I'm gonna go for a walk. But every single day, affirm. See what you're doing when you do these things here. After you said, "This is I am. I'm grateful that I have what I want." By visualizing it, you're affirming that. By moving, you're affirming that because that type of person exercises.
Mhm.
When I struggled with weight, when I finally like lost the weight that I was my first like fat problem, that I was getting rid of, it was I remember before that I used to look at fit people and go, man, if I look like them, I wouldn't even exercise.
Right.
you know, you know.
Oh.
And then I realized it was they look like they do because they do exercise.
Yep.
So I had to change the way I saw myself. Other big thing is read, right?
Mhm.
There's a whole host, of positive mental attitude books, but you can start with books like uh, the Miracle Morning, but reading positive information and putting in 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, sometimes even more of positive thoughts in your brain, you know. And the last thing is to scribe or write, but we wanted to make it say savers and not saver W. So scribe, you know, don't worry about reading it. Hopefully you're paying attention. But the scribe is taking a moment to write, like, what am I grateful for?
Mhm.
Every day in my morning routine, I think my morning routine is my hack for life. But everything every day in my morning routine, I write like I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that, I'm grateful for that. And it doesn't have to be a million things. I pick three things,
Mhm.
but it sets up my day to move in the space of gratitude versus moving of this like whatever just happened. Even if it's cold outside, instead of me whining about the cold weather, and everybody knows me, if it's under 70 degrees, it's like really, really cold. Instead of whining about it, I'm grateful that I have clothes to keep me warm. You know,
Mm.
I'm grateful that we paid the heat bill. I'm grateful that I can feel the temperature and the beautiful colors of autumn and all those kind of different things. So it's writing gratitude, and I also like to write what I'm learning. But in this thing is just taking the time to write down what you're grateful for.
Mhm.
Shock yourself if seasonally you just go back and go, okay, for the last 90 days, I'm going to reread what I was grateful for the last 90 days. And it'll change who you are, because the secret of hitting your goals is if this was like your goal was here and you're here, right? You're not tall enough to reach your goals. That means you cannot reach your goals.
Mhm.
But what you can do is not chop off the head. But what you can do is build yourself on things under you to rise you as a person, so eventually you can reach your goal.
Mhm.
And that's what this reading does. That's what this, speaking and associating, it allows you to build yourself of who you are so you can reach your goals. So as we wrap up here, I just want to give you a final thought. And if you think of yourself and your life experiences, you're going to naturally experience negative things in life. You
Mhm.
also going to experience some positive things. And depending on how you grew up, some of us, by the time we're adult and conscious of what's going on, we have a little bit more negatives than positives in there. There's no way to delete the negative.
Mhm.
But since we already talked about, God, there's a great scripture in the Bible that says, "Hey, overcome evil with good." And so what you do is you affirm and pay attention, and you put into your mind as many positives as you possibly can, and you can control your positives. That's your, well, that's weird. That's like you with a goatee. Um, but with your mouth, that was supposed to be your mouth. You can speak your positives, and add more and more positive in your life through the things you say versus speaking your negative.
I think you can also though like look at your negatives and find the positives within them too.
Nice.
And turning the negatives into positives
Mhm.
by your outlook and your perspective and finding the things that you're grateful for within those experiences.
Absolutely. This is not the place for me to do it, but when people learn my story, I've had people cry just hearing the things that I've been through in life, and I'm like, I don't get why you're crying. I had to go through it, you know. So like, what that's about. But I'm actually grateful for all those things because they built the resilience
Mhm.
handle other things the way I need to handle them. And at worst case scenario, at least it created in me the type of person who can help somebody else navigate that if those opportunities occur. So you're absolutely right. You can even, which is I never even thought about it like based on this. Yes, you have a certain amount of negatives that are happening, you have a certain amount of positive, but as you mature and grow yourself through this, reading, listening, associating, and being grateful, right? You can start looking at this situation and go, I'm grateful for it. I'll give you an example. In the 2008, I lost my job, right? I would have kept doing my job. It was the highest paying job I had at the time, so I would have kept doing it. And I hated the hours. You know, um, Me and my boss didn't align core value wise on so many different levels and everything else, but I would have kept doing it. But if you look at 2008, 2009, I totaled my car in the beginning of the year. I'm
Mm.
out of work. They're foreclosing on my home, you know, and within like a month and a half to 3 month period of time, multiple people tell me I should lose weight.
Mm.
I'm like your mother. You know what I mean? So it was just you know, I wasn't too happy with all the things at the time. But
You're
if
fun.
that crucible moment didn't, you know, you see, right? You see, you had some comments on that one, but I was blessed to be able to use that opportunity and get access to mentorship that allowed me to actually lose the weight in the time, learn about metabolism,
Mhm.
start seeing you fit by the end of 2009, right? And now since then, we've been able to help over 3,500 people. You know what I mean? In our area. So, it's like if that thing that in the moment didn't happen, then this moment today wouldn't happen.
Mhm.
But you're right. As you look back, you go, thank God I got fired or the company went out of
Mhm.
business, because this wouldn't happen. Yeah.
Right.
We just have to trust that there are future benefits to it. So powerful, powerful thing there. So we're excited to share with you. We're right at that half an hour mark. Hopefully this helped you. I'm making my commitment to be here on a Thursday. But before we get into like, hey, these are some tips to lose weight for the new year, let's make sure that we're thinking about ourselves the right way, and we're
Mhm.
speaking to ourselves and developing those little habits to ensure that we can be successful for our goals. So, any other things you have on your side?
No, I think that sums it up.
Cool deal. So it's great chatting with you guys. We will have some special guests on and in some of the future ones. So we're excited about that as well. And we look forward to talking to you guys later. Bye bye.